Welcome. Trying to produce the show myself today. Welcome to the Tell the Truth podcast. I hope everyone can hear us. If you can't hear us, let us know, and we will fix that as soon as possible. Shout out, we have on the show today. He was one of our first guests ever to appear on the Tell the Truth podcast, and we have my brother, my friend, my ally, Mr. Alvin Fowlkes.
What's going on?
He said he already know the rules.
I know the rules.
You know the rules.
I can say any kind of thing I want. No, I'm just playing. I know better. I know better. I know better. I won't break protocol.
So we appreciate that. I'm trying to share what we got going on here tonight.
Okay.
Just bear with me 1 second. What is it? Oh. Okay. All right. That's me. I'm sorry. Look, when you try to host the show, produce the show, run the show, do the show, I ain't got my trusted sidekick with us yet. She's in traffic. So y'all just keep her in prayer. They got something going on Chippenham in between Hopkins and Beulah. So yeah, she's gonna get here when she get here. But tonight's discussion. Do you watch Married at First Sight?
No. Okay. I know about it, but I don't watch it. I don't do reality TV like talking about.
This is a soap opera.
I've heard.
This year is a soap opera.
I heard.
And we ain't gonna get into much trash tonight because the trash person is not with us. that is her lane. She gets all the scoop. But I just finished before Brother Fowlkes came over. I just finished watching the last episode. I told y'all, when you get to a certain age as a man, sleep sneaks up on you out of nowhere, and you will be gone. So we were upstairs watching it the other night, and it got a little bit too late for me, and sleep got me. Sleep took over and weighed down on my neck, and so I didn't get the chance to finish watching, but I watched it today. Boy, this brother Chris got some stuff with him.
Yeah, I heard he got issues.
that man got more issues than Sports Illustrated. That man got issues. Well, Leah said, "Well, I got issues. We got issues." Yeah. All right. So let me see that bottle. The wine for tonight. You know we got Stella Rosa. We are looking for sponsorship. Stella Rosa, we love your wine. Stella Rosa, it is delicious. We are looking for sponsorship, Stella Rosa. And tonight we have the Golden Honey Peach. Brother Alvin has never had it. Never had the Golden Honey Peach. And so we're going to ask him on this live show to do a taste test of the Golden Honey Peach wine from Stella Rosa.
I can pick it up now.
You can pick it up now.
All right. Because he wouldn't let me try prior to it.
I want a live reaction.
Okay. All right. Let's see. Oh, wow.
Oh wow.
Lucky I know the rules. Look, I'm glad I knew the rules of the show before I got here, because that made me want to say something. That's good. That's real good. Real good.
And this bottle can be found at your local grocery store. And the one I go to is Kroger. and it is for right now running about $10 a bottle. So which is a good wine for $10.
It sure is. This is good. And I don't do a lot of wine drinking. I don't like dry and all that stuff. I'm not a connoisseur by any means, but I do like sweet dessert wines, and that's definitely what that is.
Yes.
That's good, really good.
I'm personally either. I'm not a dry. If I want to drink something dry, I'm going to get me some Hennessy.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's dry.
I'm going to give me a nice old cognac if I wanted something dry, but that is delicious.
That is good.
That's a delicious glass of wine.
Yeah, that's good.
And so tonight, most of y'all, we might have some new people. I hope we have some new ones since the last time we had Brother Alvin on. And I can tell when Sister Taylor's not here, because ain't nobody in the chat.
What she encourages people to be in the chat?
I think so. She just that type of great person, man.
Go ahead.
People love to talk to her.
Well,
Nobody like to talk to me no more.
I understand why they like to talk to her. She is a great person. Not to say you ain't, but I know she is.
And so, introduce yourself to the people, Alvin. Let them know who you are and what you do.
Okay. So, I'm Alvin Fowlkes. For a living, I am a business professor at ECPI University, and so I teach business administration. When I'm not there, I am the ambassador of my movement called the Loud Life. That's my symbol. Let me see. There you go. it's really what I didn't know if I was transposed or not. So what that means is, you're living your life to the fullest, doing things that are going to fulfill you, make you happy.
If y'all don't know, I got rubber bands that Alvin gave me.
Yeah, he got on bracelets.
And they're going to have it for about 2 years.
Yeah, it has been 2 years, literally 2 years. And so I'm a big believer in, I'll tell you, I'll put it to you this way. I know why I was put on earth. I was put on earth to motivate, educate, and inspire people. That's why I'm here. Mm-hmm. So that is me in a nutshell. And if he wants to ask me more questions about me, of course I'll answer. But that's me.
Oh, we're gonna get into it.
I know.
Get into it.
Yeah, I know.
Oh, there's something going on up there. In the top part of Studio 7226 is something going. It's some ruckus going on upstairs trying to figure out what that was. But now, as we sit here today and discussing, we're going to be discussing mental health. And why did I call it mental health? Because I believe, and you could probably attest to this too, men struggle with health. And they struggle silently with it. Why do you think that is?
I don't think, I know.
Okay.
It's society and generational curse and generational misinformation. Mm-hmm. That's why we suffer with it. We are told that men can't cry, we can't do certain things, we can't say certain things. We learned all that behavior. None of it's true. Mm-hmm. We learned it, and then we keep perpetuating it. So,
why do you think men perpetuate? Hey, Kay. Why do you think men perpetuate that health part, that mental health? Why do they keep doing the same thing over and over again?
Hey. Oh, hey, y'all come on in.
Okay.
Get on in.
I
don't need to be on camera today.
You don't?
Uh-uh.
Oh. Okay. So we just gonna hear your voice?
Yes.
Okay. You look very, very beautiful today.
Thank you.
You be on camera.
That's my overflow. My overflow.
Ask me the question again because I forgot what it was.
Why do you think men keep perpetuating and that same stereotypical stuff?
Because we are, unfortunately, and I fall into this category too, I have, and most men that I know do, men that I talk to, men that I counsel, men that I fellowship with, we really care what other people think. Way too much. So we care about what people are going to say, how people are going to judge us, what people are going to do, and none of it's fair. But I think that's why we keep perpetuating it, because we want to look a certain way to people, and that's not healthy. It's not at all.
One thing you wrote a couple months ago,
Mm-hmm.
you said men men believe what they believe and women believe what they believe. And it's both true.
Mm-hmm.
You say men will say some of the most discouraging things about health but women say some of the most encouraging things about health.
Mm-hmm.
Why does that continue to happen? Why did you say that?
Okay, I said it because as an educator, I teach marketing and advertising and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
So I'll give you the example that I give my class.
Mm-hmm.
When you watch commercials, women are encouraged to be social. They're encouraged to look after themselves. So they're encouraged to go and take, a day for themselves and to detox and things like that. They're encouraged to. They're encouraged to eat right. They're encouraged to, lean cuisine is for women. They're encouraged to eat right. They're encouraged to watch calories and things like that. Men are encouraged to eat bacon.
Because it's a manly thing.
Because that's what we have to.
How did bacon become man?
The same way that salad became feminine,
Right.
which is ridiculous. Food does not have a gender, but society did it. Colors don't have a gender. Society did that. But that's what I meant by that. That when you are looking at things, okay, let me backtrack. I'm gonna put my teacher hat on and say this. So men and women socialize differently. We are taught to socialize differently. So I'll give you an example of that too. You and I, Darrell, aka Big Twin, that's what I call him. Saying Darrell don't even sound right. So that's the last time y'all hear me say that tonight. You and I, Big Twin, could go to the basketball court right now, play a pickup game of basketball with a whole bunch of strangers we ain't never met for hours, and do that with no problem. While you out there playing pickup basketball, these dudes your best friend. For 3 hours, you out there just picking and rolling, fast breaking, all kinds of stuff. Y'all good. You dap up, you leave. Women don't shop like that. Do you, Ty Doll, do you go to the mall and just find strange women to go?
No.
No,
I do not.
no. You know why? Because we as men are taught to socialize in a different way. Women are taught to socialize by making connection. Men are not taught to socialize by making connection. We connect over things. We connect over objects and events. Women connect over shared experiences.
Okay.
So because they connect over shared experiences, they are more prone and have the propensity to share with one another. Men don't do that. So, we ain't sharing while we out there playing basketball because we playing ball. And when we finish playing ball, we ain't gonna go, yo man, let me tell you about what happened to me yesterday. we not taught to do that, and we don't do that.
Is that because of that men really compartmentalize everything in their life? Almost.
To a certain extent, yes, we do. We are. Now that is something that is just what men do by nature. That's not necessarily taught. I know a lot of people think that that's a taught thing, but I personally do not believe that is taught to us. We think differently. Our minds work differently. So men compartmentalize. We put things into squares and we move from square to square. Women, you ever heard the whole thing about men are like waffles, women are like spaghetti? Have you ever heard that? So that's a very true thing. So women can see the beginning of one noodle, the end of another noodle, and they can all be meshed up together, but they can keep all the noodles straight. We don't think that way. Men don't think like that. And so I give myself as an example. If I want to clean my house, I cannot do it the way that a woman would, because a woman, and Ty Dolla, you can help me out, and I'm generalizing, but I know what I'm talking about. When women clean a house, y'all can say, I'm gonna wash clothes, I can do the dishes, I can clean up this room, I'm gonna do this, and all that's cool. And by the end of the day, you've done it all.
Right.
Okay. Not men. If I do all of that, if I say I'm gonna do all of that, by the time I finish, I got 5 things halfway done.
Oh Lord, you were speaking.
Is that true?
Speaking my love language.
everything's halfway done. And see now, and this is the part I try to help women understand. Then the next day we don't want to do it because we already feel overwhelmed from not getting it done the first day. Mm-hmm. So the next day when y'all mad about why ain't y'all get it done, we already feel defeated.
Right.
So we don't want to do it. So the thing that, like, okay, the other example I give is like washing my car. If I go to wash my car,
and I didn't get the chance to wash my car.
You did. If I go to wash my car, that's all I'm thinking about is washing my car. So I can go wash my car, detail it, vacuum the inside, all that kind of stuff, and I'm not thinking about washing my car and cleaning the house.
Right.
I'm just washing my car.
It's one or the other.
It's one or the other. So in most cases, men put things in boxes, and we move from box to box. Women can see things clearer. Does not mean, I have to make sure I stress this, it does not mean that women are better multitaskers than men. It does not mean that. It means that women have a different way of processing information. Mm-hmm. So in that process of information, they can think about multiple things and do multiple things, which, by definition could be construed as multitasking. But I know women who are terrible at multitasking, So, but they know what they're thinking and how they're thinking and what they need to do, and they can keep all that kind of stuff straight.
Right.
We can't. So now imagine that with the average man having to do that with their feelings.
Ooh.
Most of the time we can't talk about but one feeling at a time.
At a time. Because you can't really describe the rest. You
can't. And so that goes into the whole thing about emotional intelligence. Mm-hmm. So part of emotional intelligence has 5 components. The first 3 have everything to do with you. The last 2 have everything to do with how you deal with other people.
Right.
So the first one is, how do you describe to yourself what you're feeling? Most people, even though you live in your body, that does not mean that you know yourself. It really doesn't. People think that.
If you ain't say a word right there.
Because you can learn something about yourself every day.
Every day.
So there are people that think that because it's you that you just supposed to know. No, you're not supposed to know. So the first component of emotional intelligence is identifying your emotions. Most people are not savvy enough. People who don't have high emotional intelligence, as I say, are not savvy enough to understand what they're feeling. Because the next part of understanding what you're feeling is being able to articulate what you feel. Mm-hmm. Then the third part is being able to talk to yourself and motivate yourself optimistically. Okay, that's 3 separate things.
Yeah.
So
I'm confused already.
Because most people will not be able to tell you, or most men cannot articulate how they feel.
And those strengths can come at 3 separate times.
At 3 separate times. Yes.
Because I may figure out what my emotions are,
mm-hmm.
but I still may not be able to pinpoint them enough to tell who I am.
Right.
So that may, it's people I know that are still like 60, 70 years old, still trying to figure out who they are.
Yes.
And pinpoint emotions that are difficult to pinpoint.
Yes. And then once you pinpoint them, now that you know how you feel, and I say, okay, Ty, tell me what you feel, and that still doesn't mean that you're able to articulate.
Right. To tell you what that is.
To tell you exactly what it is.
And is that why women get so frustrated with men?
Yes.
When men cannot describe how they're actually feeling, yes. or can't even articulate
yes.
how they're feeling.
Yes, that's why. Because men and women have separate experiences, and unfortunately, because men are guilty of it too, we think that our experience is the other person's experience, and it's not. So what may come easy to somebody may come easy to one person may be difficult to another person, and it's not, in this case, it's not a level of difficulty. It's just different. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
It's not difficult. It's just different. So yes, you do hear a lot of women go, "He don't want to talk to me. He don't want to talk to me." Most of the time they do want to talk to you. They just don't know what to say.
They don't know what to say.
Or also not what to say, but they don't want to be offensive on how they say it.
True, that's true too.
And they're thinking, the men think about the reaction to what they say before they say it.
That's true. We do.
Not necessarily all the time.
No, it depends on the relationship.
Yeah, it does. This is a good wine.
It is very delicious.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, is that a different stuff in Rosa?
This is the golden honey.
Golden honey.
You had that before?
Yes, we have had.
I thought we have.
Yeah.
And we are letting Alvin go home with the watermelon.
And I've never had that either.
I don't think I've
I
had
don't
it.
think we had.
We've
You
had
have to let us know how that.
I will. Watermelon happens to be one of my favorite flavors of anything. So
is it?
yes,
That's
it
good.
is.
Okay, did you know that?
I did.
Okay.
Of course, my twin knows
when
me.
your friends listen.
Yeah, that's right. When your friends listen and pay attention to you. That's right. When your friends become family.
And we're using the OBS Streamlabs tonight
This one looks different.
instead of the StreamYard. The StreamYard, I would have had some different background pictures. I had some different background pictures that I pulled off your Facebook page.
Oh, did you?
But when you, I'm trying to incorporate the things our son put together, and so he's teaching me different platforms.
Gotcha.
And so while he's teaching me different platforms, I have to be able to incorporate the different things.
That's dope, though. That's dope.
So if y'all want to start a podcast, come holler at us. We got you. We got everything straight for you. Just a small service fee.
Yeah.
we ain't gonna beat you over the head. All right. So dealing with this thing, how has expressing your feelings in your personal life been? Have you been able to do that on a consistent level?
Okay. That's a deep question, and I'm going to give you a deep answer.
That's what we're here for.
Yeah, that's a deep one. Okay. So, by my own admission, I have always been a feeling sensitive person.
I want to let y'all know, those that are coming in late, we did not push Sister Tyann in the corner. She chose.
Somebody said that?
She chose cleanliness with us. She chose to sit over there because she didn't want to disrupt and this is the moment to talk tonight. So if somebody looked at this podcast later and said, "Why that big head Negro in the middle and he all big and stuff and everybody behind him?" It's the way we sit and I have wide shoulders. We good, Ram? Yeah. I got wide shoulders, and she chose to sit in the corner.
I did.
And we did not force her to the corner. She's just over there.
Okay, nobody puts baby in the corner.
Nobody puts baby in the corner. She just volunteered to go sit on the couch.
Baby gets what baby wants.
So that's how it is. So
Okay.
I'm just letting everybody know from Jump Street.
Okay.
Before I got into my deep answer,
Yeah.
he didn't.
I
He trying to know you want to abuse it.
I don't want none of them problems. I don't want none of them problems. Because somebody will see something.
Yeah.
Yeah, they will.
And say, look at them. They just put the women in the background. I did not.
As we sit here talking about the difference between men and women,
Right.
like we dog y'all out.
First of all, I'm wide, and I have to sit a little bit further.
It's okay, baby. Let Alvin go ahead and answer your question.
And I don't got the question.
How do you handle? Have you been always been able to express your feelings?
Okay.
And dealing with this this 5-part emotional pieces that we have as men, as people.
Okay. So, like I said, that's a deep question. So I'm gonna give you a deep raw dog answer. So, like I said, I have always been sensitive. I've always been. I was born that way. I was always like this. But when you are a young black man, you can't show emotion. That's just the reality of the reality. Mm-hmm. Anybody that try to tell you different is not being honest. The reality of the reality is you can't show emotion. Mm. So I had to repress a lot of my emotions growing up because I didn't want people to think I was soft, I was weak, I was gay, all this other stuff all the stigmas that go along with somebody having emotions. So I learned to repress all of my emotions to the point that it was incredibly unhealthy because I was going to school and I was being one person, but at home I was trying to be another person, and it was just horrible. It was absolutely horrible. But I realized also that in my teenage years I started identifying the fact that me being an emotional person was actually a gift, but I didn't see it as a gift then. I saw it as a curse, and I hated it. I did everything I could to not, be emotional, not be sensitive, and not care about people, and not care about things, and not care about stuff. But it didn't work. It eventually, you asked me, was I always like this? I didn't get to a point where I felt like I was, emotionally intelligent until I was probably in my mid to late 30s.
Oh, wow.
Because I spent so much time trying to be what I thought everybody else wanted me to be, and trying to be what society wanted me to be, which is, hard, and don't talk about nothing, don't cry, don't do this, don't do that. But that's why we die early.
Because we hold all
it all in. Yeah. It's poison. Yeah. It's poison. And what I realize now in my maturity is, if God didn't want men to use emotions, then why did He give them to us?
That's a good question.
Why do we have them? He didn't give them to us. Why would He give us this for us to repress them? That makes no sense to me. And nobody can make it make sense. I understand we can still be hunter, gatherer, provider, lover, friend. We can still do all of that stuff and still feel.
Yeah.
Why does it have to be one or the other? I'll tell you why. Because we compartmentalize stuff, and we still listening to the stuff that great grandma and great grandpa told us about
how men are supposed
to be, and that was toxic. It was toxic.
It's toxic what?
I don't know what you're talking about. Moving on.
I don't know what you're talking about either. I'm just here.
That's a whole nother show for a different day.
Okay. I see. They got that, marriage telepathy. I don't know what they're talking about. But it's all good. It's good.
So piggybacking on that, though, do you catch backlash now that you know better, and you are in spaces where you not are necessarily allowed, but where you don't have any problem expressing how you feel and displaying those emotions? Do you ever at any point in time catch backlash from friends or family, or even those people that instill those stereotypes or characteristics on you?
That's a really good question. Now, let me think about it so I can give you a really good answer, because I was about to give you a knee-jerk answer. Okay, so I hate when my students do this, but I'm going to say it. It depends.
It depends.
But everything depends. So that's why I don't let my students give me that answer. So let me be more
point.
Yeah, because it is. Let me be more pointed.
Okay.
When I first started being this way, in terms of just being able to tell people how I feel, primarily saying I love you.
Right.
I did catch a lot of backlash.
Okay.
I caught a lot. I had one friend of mine, and me and him, we like this. I had him tell me, he was like, "Yo, you got to chill out with the I love you stuff, man." He's like, "I love you too and everything, but you got to chill out with that." I was like, "Tell me why." I said, "Do you love me, right?" He's like, "Yeah, but I don't feel the need I have to say it." I said, "But one day you are gonna feel the need you have to say it. One day you are, because something's gonna happen, and one day you're gonna see." I said, "But you know what? I'll chill out for you since it makes you uncomfortable. I'll chill out for you. I ain't gonna do nothing to make you uncomfortable." Years later, he found the Lord. And when he found the Lord, all of a sudden, now, it's okay. It's totally okay. Because the Lord told him it was okay. See, but the Lord had already told me it was okay. But he didn't want to listen to me.
He had to wait
until he heard the God for himself. But so I did catch it from that standpoint. And with my family, I did not grow up in a touchy-feely family. So my family was not touchy-feely at all. We didn't hug, we didn't kiss, we didn't do any of that stuff. As I got older, though, all of a sudden, I'll never forget it. One day, our family just sat down and randomly had a conversation. It wasn't even a planned conversation. Somebody just said, "Why don't we hug?" And that went into a whole discussion about why. And then what we heard was, "Well, I've always wanted to. I just didn't think that y'all wanted to." And so now, I hug everybody: my aunts, my uncles, my cousins, my nieces, nephews, everybody, because now nobody seems to feel the stigma. And Ty, we had gotten so used to repressing it that it just became part of who we were. It just became a part of the family. That's what it was. Did we love each other? Yes. Did we tell each other? No.
Wow.
Never told each other. Never. So I've always been envious of people that I see, that I can see that they are very lovey and touchy-feely, and they can express it, because I didn't have that growing up. That was not my reality. It's my reality now.
Right.
And so...
I think it's accepted way more, even in individual families. It is. I think a lot of people had that same conversation within their families, like, okay, this is okay.
Yeah, it's okay. Back in the 80s, they coined the phrase dysfunctional family. So you started hearing about dysfunctional family, and as I got older, I realized, I said, well, everybody's family dysfunctional. That's just what it is.
Yes.
Most people are functionally dysfunctional. Yes. We just learn to function in our dysfunction. So my family's dysfunction was, we were emotionally repressed. Now it's different. My grandma, who lived to be, Big Mama lived to be 93. When she got into her late 80s, early 90s, all of a sudden, she started kissing us. Now, growing up, she never kissed us. She got to be old. Then all of a sudden, we were around, and, we could go to hug her, and before I knew it, she had kissed me. I was like, what? Where did it come from, Big Mama? Where did it come from? But it's like all her inhibitions just went down. And then she just started being lovey-dovey. So I was like, well, I loved it. I always wanted to hug and kiss her, but I just never felt I could. That was on my mom's side of the family. On my daddy's side of the family, that was different. My dad's mom, she was a hugger and a kisser, so that was good for her. But on my mom's side of the family, no.
I think a lot of it comes from basically stereotypes. A lot of it comes from, you don't want to be, like you said earlier, seen to be the gay person. You don't want to pull drink and howl and do all this foolishness, because I really didn't see until I didn't see a lot. On my mom's side of the family, it was more loving. What I would say is expressing love, showing love, and hugging and doing all that. I didn't see my grandfather do a lot of it, but I know my grandmother was strong-willed about that type of stuff. And so, I always saw my uncles hug each other. I always saw them hug on my mom, because she was the only girl, and things of that nature. But I think what happens is, when we get around other people that have all their other social anxieties and all their other social stuff, we don't want to be ostracized for doing the stuff we do or we've grown up doing.
I agree. Yeah, when I was growing up, it's funny you said it, because I hadn't even thought about this till just now. We used to have a family reunion every year on my mom's side. And my uncles used to greet each other. My uncles, these are their brothers, used to greet each other and shake each other's hand. Now, they ain't seen each other in a year.
How are you now?
They would shake hands.
Yes.
And I never thought anything about that until I got older. It was like, that's your brother. You shaking his hand? You ain't seen, that's your brother.
Clint said, saying I love you versus showing love was usually the black family's cop-out for not having to deal with emotions.
Right.
Yes.
And we want to shout out Aunt. We want to shout out Tati. We want to shout out my mom. Anthony is my friend from my Warrior class, my Warrior family. So we
Big Twin Mama on here too.
Huh?
Big Twin Mama on
here? Yeah, she out of the hospital too.
Hey, Big Twin Mama. That's what I call her. I call her the whole thing, Big Twin Mama. That's her name. Hey, Big Twin Mama.
It said, how do we encourage men of our community, family, and friends to be more open about their feelings and emotions without ordering?
So without having to tell them.
Oh, okay. That's a good question. That's a real good question. Okay, so I would say it like this. You have to, one, create the environment that allows you to do it. It's got to be, a lot of people, this is true for everybody. People don't want to be vulnerable in places where they feel like they're going to be judged, ridiculed, or ostracized. So you have to create the environment that allows somebody to be able to say what they feel and feel what they feel. That's two different things too.
Say that again. Say that for the people in the back.
You have to give people the space to not only say what they feel, but feel what they feel. Because just because you don't agree with it doesn't mean that the feeling isn't real for that person.
Make their emotions irrelevant.
It does not. And a lot of people think because I don't understand what you're feeling, that means I can dismiss what you're feeling. So let me tell y'all something else about men. Ladies, pay attention now. Let me tell you something else. Big Twin, you can attest to this. If you tell a man or a boy that you're going to give them the opportunity to say what they feel, and they say what they feel, and they are met with, but that's dumb.
Ooh.
I don't understand that. You shouldn't feel that way. What you have guaranteed is that he is not going to share not one emotion with you again. Not one.
One of the things I have when the boys come up and say, I said, I don't understand. I don't say that's dumb. I said, I don't understand because some stuff I don't understand. I need to take time to process.
Give me a minute to think about
what they say. I don't believe in calling my boys dumb. And just like Ant was saying too, you know, he hugs on his kids every day. And we force our boys to hug us a lot of times because that's not how they show love. But eventually they're gonna have kids, hopefully sometime, and they're gonna have to figure out how to show love and how to hug on each other and be able to express their emotions in different spots. You know, we are parents, so you know, as you get older, you are able to express more. But when you're younger, it's some things that I think they repress because they don't know how to
express. Going back to that compartmentalizing, they don't know how to express.
They don't know how to express it.
Go back to Tamika's comment.
And not only they don't know how to express it, but they also are told that they can't express it.
Right.
Which is the other unfortunate part. Because now that I want to express something to you, but you're like, you better stop that crying. You better do that. What you whining for? Now I'm already shut down.
And you don't have to worry about me bringing it back.
Bring it back up again. You'll never know nothing else. That's why y'all get these answers. How was your day? Fine. What does that mean? It was fine.
It was fine. What went on? Nothing.
Not a thing. You know, just same old.
Yeah. Mika says, I'm used to hearing, oh, she/he. No, I love them. Also a cop out to not saying it. But instead, it's shown in the ways we truly can feel it, other than taking care of us.
Yeah, it's definitely a cop out. It's like, and we used to get that all the time. It's like, I don't need to say it.
Yes,
they already know.
Yeah,
they know I love them. But I mean, so why do I have to? I mean, but people don't know.
They don't know,
and it's crazy because even as the feminine perspective of it, like I was shown love in my family, but because of outside interferences, it was crazy to me that somebody else could love me. Now I heard it, and it was done to me. But even towards my children, he hugs them. But when they come over and they hug me, I'm like, what y'all doing?
Yeah.
Like, it is uncomfortable for me.
Yeah.
Because, like I said, because of outside things, I'm like, who, me?
Right.
I'm worthy of that, and I'm sure that can be true on both sides.
That was you just described my mama. That was my mama.
Yeah.
She was like that. My mama was a touch me not.
Yeah, touch me.
and she was not the one that would say I love you, because she equated love, and I know that whole thing about the 5 love languages and whatever the case may be, but she equated love to be I provide for you. So
yes, I'm supposed to do this.
So of course I love you. I feed you, don't I? That's basically her thing. Now my daddy was different. He was very touchy-feely. So he liked to hug and whatever. He didn't kiss or whatever, but he did like to hug. And he liked to wrestle and tickle and all that stuff. But he didn't withdraw from that. He was cool with it, but my mama was not. So that was something I had to, and that I can say this since we being raw, and that had a profound impact on me. To this day.
Yes.
Which is why therapy is a wonderful thing.
And I often think about that. I have to go back to them later on and then rethink, because I do it. That's just my knee.
It's second nature to you.
Right. And so when I have to go back later on and then go hug, because Destiny don't care. She don't care about your space. And so I have to go back to her like, yes, I love you, and then hug or hug Rail. He another one. He'll care about your space. And so I have to go in and hug them and think about it later. But initially when they come in towards me, I'm like, whoa.
I'll never forget, I came home from college one time and my mama was sitting on the couch and I went over to her and this is all I did. I went like this. And I felt her shoulders tense up. And I purposely would not let her go. And I looked at her, I said, "You're real uncomfortable right now, aren't you?" That was the first time I was ever that real with her. And she was like, "Yeah, I've got to admit I am." I said, "But I'm your son." She said, "Well, that's true, that's true." Then she kind of loosened up. Eventually. It ain't loose, won't loose. No. But I took what I could get in there.
Okay. Yeah, therapy and Jesus does wonderful things.
Yeah.
But we have to also be, and we've talked about this many, many times before. The Lord has given us professionals that study the brain. Your pastors are not clinical psychiatrists, psychologists. If you might have some that do have that expertise as well that they went to school for, but there's a whole gamut of that, and we all need some. As Alvin said earlier, all of our house has some type of dysfunction.
Everybody.
Why? Because all have sinned and come short of the glory, and so we need somebody to help us get through the traditionalism of stuff that won't right.
Yeah.
Break those, those generational curses, because that is actually a curse.
It's a curse, and research where stuff came from.
Oh, Jesus!
Research why a lot of stuff that we deal with as black people is because of our ancestors and their experience. Yes. And so we learn to condition ourselves to do certain things.
They had to adapt.
They had to.
Don't have to.
That we don't have to.
Right.
But it left an imprint on us. And I didn't realize until I started studying and talking to people, because I never knew and never really could think that stuff can be imprinted on your DNA as you go through generations. So there's some stuff that's in you that, because it's happened so long, it's an evolution, it's in you. Yes. And when I learned that, I was like, so people are feeling pain from things that happened to their ancestors and don't even know why they feel the pain. And because they're not emotionally equipped to deal with the pain, they don't know how to pursue it enough to figure out, why do I feel this way? Why am I this way? Growing up black, one of the things that I know, every black family I know got the family secret. Every black family.
That nobody talk
about. That you cannot breach. No. But the family
talk about it, but everybody in the
family. But everybody knows the secret. But nobody know the origin of the secret.
Right.
Everybody just knows it's a secret. We can't talk about this. You can't talk about this. You can't talk about this. But the family secret is just as detrimental to us as not talking about our emotions. Because the family secret is buried because of somebody's emotions.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's buried because of that, and that's the kind of stigma that I'm just trying to get people away from, myself included. I think I am away from it, but I really talk about it constantly. That two things are going to have to change. One, how we communicate with one another, because we don't do enough communication. And then two, being open and honest about what it is that you're feeling, so that you can really deal with it.
And it's funny you should say, my cousin just went upstairs, but she'll have a kick out of this. We used to talk about all the time. My grandmother never gave a closing. Like, so when you on the phone with her, she never say goodbye or talk to you later, anything. You know, if we having a conversation and she be like, okay, and hang up the phone. Nothing. Just like that. And somebody had to bring it to me. My aunt had to bring it to me. So, do you realize that when they first got telephone conversations, you didn't have time for that. You had a few minutes to say what it is, what business you had to tend to, and get off the phone. No, she's not gonna say bye.
Yeah.
She's still thinking in that same mindset. I gotta hurry up and get off the phone. I told you what it is I need you to know.
Right. Yeah.
It's no need for me to say bye or see you later.
This is just information.
This is information, and I don't want to talk to you no more.
So, you know, somebody called me out on that, on something similar to that. Because I'm the type of person, if I need something from you, I don't start the conversation.
He doesn't greet.
I don't greet.
That's true.
That's just rude.
Yeah, somebody call me.
That's just rude.
But I don't know what it is. I don't even think about it as being rude.
I didn't think about that till you just said that. No, he don't. He don't.
That's not being rude.
He just pick up the phone and just, what up? Or just go into the conversation.
But I have to
Man,
stop him. I be like, hello to you too.
Because Baba got me. He was like, yo, you know, you never say good morning, good afternoon, or good evening. You just go right in. Then I got called out by my fitness warrior mentor. She was just like, because I was asking her a question. Because my mind is so, I need to get my question out. Because I don't like losing my question. And I think I'm going to lose it. So I got to get it out before I lose it. And she was like, first off, good morning.
Yes.
I just thought we all work out together now, and so he'll come in the gym and do that,
and
like,
just start talking.
I just think
You see me, so everything working you.
No, you have to greet people. Hello, how are you?
he just comes in the gym, and next thing you know, he warming up, or he actually did you look at TV last night? Did you see? We just straight at the. I never noticed that.
Good morning.
Yeah.
Are you faring well?
Oh God,
Waste of breath,
It's
brain.
not. It's rude.
that's good. I needed that last boy. That was good.
Oh man. So, you know, dealing with a lot of this stuff, and I know you personally. How has this pandemic? What have you seen during this pandemic talking about mental health?
Personally, or in general, or both?
Both.
Personally, I can say I didn't really believe at first that the pandemic was having an effect on me until maybe like April of last year, and when I started realizing that I was slipping into a depression, and I didn't even realize I was slipping into the depression, but my anxiety level kicked up, and I didn't feel like doing anything, even because I didn't feel like doing anything because there were so many things I couldn't do. I know that sounds like an oxymoron, but that's what I felt. So
I get it. Believe me, I get it.
You know, so like they know, if you're watching, some of you may know me, some of you may not, but I travel a lot, and I'm blessed to say I've traveled the world. So it's nothing for me to tell him or tell her, you know, I'm getting ready to go to blah 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 blah, and we'll see your pictures when you get back, or whatever the case may be.
One day we're gonna be grown enough to go now.
People
to places.
Thailand is first on the list.
Thailand is awesome. It is awesome. And so last year, when I realized that some of the trips I had put into place, they all got postponed. I was supposed to go to Ireland last year. I was supposed to go to Greece, and didn't go to either one. My birthday the year before the pandemic, for my birthday, I took myself to Malaysia. I went to Kuala Lumpur. This year for my birthday, y'all know where I went? Raleigh, North Carolina.
Oh, Lord!
To Raleigh, North Carolina. On my birthday in Malaysia, I was taking pictures of the Twin Towers, and I went to a Hindu temple. It was magnificent. This year, I took a picture out my hotel room of a parking lot in Raleigh, North Carolina for my birthday. So I was not handling the pandemic well because I am also extroverted. So I like social, and all that got shut down. All of it. What I've seen with other people, like with my students, we're virtual now. So we teach through Microsoft Teams. I have some students that have stepped up, and I have some students that have just fallen because they need face-to-face interaction. They, and they've told me, they said, well, if I want to take online classes, I would have went to the online campus. And I get that. I totally get that. So, and I think that everybody, if they're honest with themselves, have experienced some level of adjustment and depression when it comes to this, because your life has been disrupted. And the things that you used to do, you can't do. And then also the reality set in that some of the things that we're doing now as a result of the pandemic, we may be doing forever. Plexiglass ain't going nowhere. That's not going nowhere. The people ain't going to take that down. That's not going anywhere. Mask wearing to a certain extent, that's not going anywhere. Now, the funny thing was, I was talking to one of my travel partners, and she and I were talking about, we went to Japan a couple of years ago, and in Japan, mask wearing is just what they do.
They've been
doing it. And we try to figure out why. So over there they do it because of pollution. So, we just looking like, it ain't even that bad here. If you want pollution, you need to come to the United States. This ain't no pollution.
No, that joint is crazy. When they had the Olympics, they had a month before the Olympics, they had to shut down every factory in Japan because it was so terrible.
Because it was thick.
Yeah.
But when I went over there, it wasn't that bad. But they all wearing masks. Okay, so now we're in that stage where there are going to be some people who are always going to be masked up when they go outside.
Right.
So when you have to do an adjustment to who you are and what you're used to, that a lot of people do not adjust well, which can lead to depression. It did for me. Yeah, and then it also, me and Ty talked about this a little bit the other day, but also sometimes you can get depressed by one thing and then it starts uncovering other stuff.
Yes.
Then you got to deal with all of it.
Yep.
I always have to remind people of that. My brother in particular, I have to tell that he always gets on me because we'll talk about something and then he'll think that it's done. But then if something triggers something else, and I may need to go and have to revisit it because I keep trying to tell him, and I tell other people, depression is not linear.
Absolutely not.
And healing is not linear. And so, there's a comedian that says this all the time. Look, depression ain't for the weak.
It's not.
It ain't. And loving someone with depression ain't for the weak. So when I have to go back and revisit something that he thinks is done, and that's not just my brother, him primarily, but it happens with my sisters too, and co-workers, whomever it is. A lot of people look at you and go, I thought we squashed this. Well, we did.
I get that a lot. I thought you was better now.
Yeah, I thought you were better now. Well, I was.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not like I was harboring anything. When I talked about it with you the first time, I really thought I was done with it. But something else triggered a nuance that I didn't think about before. Yeah. So now not only do I have to dealing with the emotion, now I got to deal with your emotion of being pissed at me.
For being depressed.
About something that
you Lord Jesus!
So now, Ty, not only am I depressed, not only am I frustrated, now I also feel guilty.
Wow.
Because I had to bring this back up to you again. I already know what your reaction will be. So now I got 3 emotions I got to work through. Which does what? Sink you deeper into depression. Because the people you want to talk to, you can't. And it's not so much that they don't want to be there. They just something
don't understand.
They don't understand, and they don't know how to be there.
Yeah, truly don't understand.
It's like trying to describe to someone who's never seen the color red, what does red look like?
Yeah.
That's when people ask me what it's like to feel depressed. I just had this conversation with my brother and with co-workers and well-meaning church people.
Okay.
This conversation.
The church.
I already know how blessed I am. I know I'm blessed. I have a nice house. I got a good job, a good paying job. I got a nice car. I've been able to see the world. And you can have all of that and still be depressed.
Absolutely.
I got good health. You can have all of that and still be depressed. But people look at the stuff you have and think, why you got to be depressed?
Yeah.
And it ain't about stuff.
It is never about stuff. If it was about stuff, I just buy more stuff.
Yeah.
But most of the time when people buy more stuff, they get more depressed.
Yes.
Because they're expecting that to feel something that
it
can't feel.
It never does.
It never does. And people mean well. They mean well when they say it. But they don't know that they're speaking death into your life when they say it. Because, personally speaking, I leave out of those conversations feeling more empty. Mm-hmm. Because I feel like, well, why am I depressed? Why should I? You're right. I do got a nice house. Yeah, I did go to Malaysia for my birthday. Most people ain't never left Virginia. You think about all that stuff, but none of that stuff makes you feel better. Mm-hmm. Nor is it designed to make you feel better.
Right.
Nope.
Because it's stuff.
And as you said, loving someone that deals with depression ain't for the weak.
Ain't for the weak.
Because Diane has a set of stuff that she's dealing with. Mm-hmm. And then when you call me or text me and be like, yo, I'm going through, and it's good that you do that, because I begin to pray, because I understand. I understand on the outside what it does to the people around you. Mm-hmm. I understand. And I pray for you, but I also pray for the people that's close to you, because it has an effect on them as well, because they want you to be better, but there's nothing they can do to make you better.
No.
And what has now happened is, when we talk about that, there are a lot of depressed men in this world, because they don't know how to express it. They have been never taught or shown how to deal with those emotions, so they keep suppressing the emotions. Mm-hmm. And then when men snap, and you wondering why, it's because they
don't have an outlet.
They don't have an outlet, and then they don't want to be told they soft, they're sissy, they this, they that, and so they have been keeping stuff in for so long that when it comes out, it's going to explode.
And anger is the only emotion that men are given permission to display. Okay. That is the one emotion that we can always display. If you want to hulk out, you can do that all day.
Yeah.
Yep.
But if you want to sit here and shed one tear, then you feel like that's the worst thing in the world. But if I'm just mad at you, a lot of men are expressing their feelings through anger, because that's the only filter they know how to express it in. But what they really are feeling is loss, grief, pain, suffering, but they only know how to express it through anger. Mm-hmm. And in some cases, that's the only way that people can hear it.
Absolutely.
It's through anger.
Yeah, you're not listening to me when I'm using my soft voice.
Yeah, you're not. You're not. Oh, I'm not going to take you serious. I don't take you seriously.
Right.
Yeah, I ain't take you seriously until you get to hollering about it.
And one of the things I have issues with, and I see it in society in toxic relationships, is that women don't respect men until they get mad. Ooh, that turned me on. Huh?
I've experienced that.
How make me getting angry? Because I tried to talk to you right, but you didn't respect me talking to you like a human being. But as soon as I snap on you, ooh, now you turned on because I'm taking charge.
Because that's a curse too.
Right. They don't know any other way.
They don't know any other way. Yeah. That's a curse too.
Yeah.
And more than likely, they saw that somewhere in their upbringing that made them feel like that is the right way that a man's supposed to do. So then they get turned on and all this kind of stuff. Oh, I love it when you're mad. No, you don't. You don't really love me when I'm mad. Like, really?
And so, and if you love me when I'm mad, you're going to do stuff to continuously make me mad.
Which brings about the dysfunction. And that's why we all need a therapist.
And some people don't know how to thrive outside of that dysfunction.
They don't. Because
they don't go any other way.
They become functional in their dysfunction.
Yes.
Yeah, go back to that. That's all it is. That they have decided that this is what it is.
Let me tell you something. A few years ago, before I started on this health journey, my blood pressure was crazy. Crazy.
You told me that.
My sugar was crazy. My cholesterol was crazy. And when I went to the doctor, the doctor said, "Are you all right? Are you do you have a headache? Do you feel faint? Did you drive here?" and I said, "No, I feel fine. I feel normal." He said, "What has happened is your body is so far out of whack that abnormality has become normal for your body. And if you don't hurry up and get this under control, your abnormality that your body has now adjusted to is going to kill you." And I
was sitting comfortable in it.
And I believe that's how it is with our emotional state.
I agree. I know it is,
Yep.
especially for men. Because I can only speak for men. I can't speak what a woman's emotional state is, but I can speak for men that yes, that we become so ingrained in the wrong teaching that just becomes what we have, and we can't see past what we have, and then we pass it down. I gotta tell you this story. I've never told you this story. So a few years ago, I went to a cookout with some friends, or friends cookout, and they have this big cookout every year, and they invite, it's like a 3-day cookout. That's how big it is. So I get to go on day 2.
You know the Atkins?
That's not this lady on day 1, she's an AKA, so she has all her AKA sisters on the first day. The second day is all family and all the family's friends, and on the third day is close family.
Okay.
So I get to go on the second day.
Right.
So I'm there, and me and my brother were there, and while we were sitting out there, a little kid late at night, this is probably a little bit after 10 o'clock or so, this little kid was crying his eyes out, and he was about 4 or 5 years old. And somebody said, "What's wrong? What happened to him?" He's like, "Well, he was sleeping. We woke him up, and he was walking to the car, and he hit his head against the rear view mirror, and he hit it so hard that it knocked him to the ground, and he started crying." And his daddy said, "But I told him, you got to be a little soldier. That ain't, you got to do what you got to do." And he looked at all of us and he said, "Ain't that right?" The host of the cookout said, "Heck no, that ain't right." He said, "You walk into a mirror and butt your head over the dog and see what you gonna do."
I'm almost getting a concussion.
I got to get a soldier. Ty, at 5.
Right.
Oh, Lord, have mercy.
And so then this guy, he says, "Well, this is my little buddy right here. This is my best friend." He says, "See, that's your problem right there. He's 5. He ain't supposed to be your friend. You his father. And he's looking to you to figure out how he should be. And you just told him that busting his head open ain't a reason to cry." He said, "Well, tell me what is the reason then? Where's the reason?" He just sat there. He was dumbfounded. He didn't know what to say. And that's when I realized that this stuff is learned.
So that's how he was taught.
That's how he was taught. How many times did he probably buzz his head up against something and his daddy went,
Shut that noise up.
You 5, bro. You 5.
It's blood coming down.
You 5. What you supposed to do at 5 years old?
My God.
You trying to get somebody to man up at 5?
My God.
Which I hate that phrase.
No, thank you.
No, thank you. No, thank you.
I said, "You had your woman." Yes. Continue.
I don't know.
We try to keep y'all at an hour. I'm trying to give
Oh.
you social cues.
Oh.
He was so long.
Look,
We just having such a good time.
I'm the timekeeper.
So not only therapy, not only Jesus, what other things can men do to help combat this social and emotional trauma that we have endured?
This, talk about it. Talk about it out loud. Talk about it with no reservation. Own it. Own it for what it is. That we are all emotional creatures. All of us. We were all created with emotions. We all have emotional reactions to stuff. Like I told you, I teach class and I teach my students, buyer's remorse is an emotional reaction. That has nothing to do with logic. That's all emotional. But you know, you can have buyer's remorse. You fine to do that, but you can't be scared that somebody in your family has a health challenge. You can't be scared about that. You got to repress that. But you can be okay if somebody step on your tennis shoes. Right. That's lunacy. So we have you can experience your emotions. And here's the other thing I think with men that we have to tell men, because men hear emotions and they immediately think cry. That's the first place they go is cry. Okay, look, let me tell you something. Nobody said that as a man you got to stand in the middle of Broad Street and cry. But you need to. If you need to cry, cry. Take your butt in the bathroom, lock the door, do what you got to do, come out there a brand new man. Or get into a safe space with somebody that won't judge you, won't have any feeling about you one way or the other because you're expressing your emotions to get the crying out. Do what you got to do. Keep it moving. You ain't got to dwell on it. You ain't got to sit here and wallow in it. You feel it, you deal with it, you keep it moving. But I think when guys hear that, about crying, they think that they're supposed to be on display. It ain't on display. I had to talk to women to get women to make me understand that I know women right now that'll tell me, so yeah, I went home last night and I had a good cry. I said, you just cry on cue? Y'all can plan to cry? And she was like, yeah, sometimes I just go home and I just know I need to get it out and I just cry. Are you that type of person? Can you do that?
Yes. If it's needed. And we'll get into it. It's a whole other story about my crying. Like if something happens that's like traumatizing or a sad moment, nothing. Dry.
Okay.
So it's only when I think I need to release it, but I have no other emotion involved in anything else.
Wow. Yeah, that is a deep conversation. Yeah, I got to come back for that one.
I don't know. If somebody passed away, something like, unless they're really, really close. I was like, you feel that thing, and I was like, I'll feel it, but I'm not crying.
Yeah. Dry.
So
I would say this too. I think that I know that I have a lot of people in my life, present company included, that don't mind being emotional. They just don't. They don't mind talking. I talk to him because I know it's a safe space and I know there ain't gonna be no judgment, and vice versa. When he calls and talk to me, it's the same thing. You create a safe space with people. Now I've also had to realize in my walk, everybody ain't equipped to handle what you have. So the people that ain't equipped to handle it, I don't give that to them because I know they're not equipped to handle it, and I'm probably going to leave out a situation worse than when I can. Yeah. And so it's no need to torture myself doing that. So back to your original question, I think it's more so we need to be able to openly talk about it, have things like this happen where we can discuss what it feels like, what our trepidations are, why we've been holding it back, and why we should let it go, because it will affect your health. I did that when I got my blood pressure checked, and they were like, your blood pressure is always normal, everything all right, and I had to admit, nah, not right now. Not right now. Then when I dealt with what I had to deal with, the next time I went, she was like, oh, now your blood pressure is back to where we know it normally is. You must got whatever you needed to get straight. I did.
So vice versa, do you have any advice or suggestion to women dealing with their man and his emotions,
or lack thereof? Yes, I would say, and I think that your wife is indicative of this. Patience. That it's going to take patience, especially if you're dealing with a man who has never been given the permission to release in a healthy way. Like I said, anger ain't always healthy. So it's going to take patience. It's going to take sometimes just listening and not inserting. Just listen. Even if you don't understand, just listen. Don't insert an opinion, a different take on it, an alternate reality to it. Just listen. And I think that that cultivates an environment that will allow that particular man to feel like I can be a little bit more open and I'm safe and she don't think I'm weak. She don't think I'm stupid. You know, she don't think that I'm blowing this out of proportion. None of that. So I think that's the best way that women and also understand, just kind of like we talked about at the beginning of the broadcast, that men think differently than men. We just do. We can look at the same thing and have different thoughts about it. And neither is right or wrong. It's just different. Different is different, not right or wrong.
That's crazy though, because even if, going back to the church aspect, we have the 4 gospels. And each 4 of those gospels are recording the same story, but in a different aspect of life.
Do you know I was an adult before I realized that?
What's that?
That the 4 gospels.
That the 4 gospels were all the same account of the same thing, but from different perspectives.
But wow, that's crazy.
You're not the only one.
I know. That's what I said. I know I'm not. Somebody watching right now. Somebody watching right now just said, "Wait a minute, Pastor, you said what now?" It's the same story. It's the same story
from a different point
from
of view.
4 different people point of view.
And one of them wasn't even there. He just heard it.
He heard it and told about it.
And wrote the most chapters about it. But it is interesting that we don't take into account somebody else's point of view for anything. Mm-hmm. We just want to share our point of view and want to be right about our point of view. Mm-hmm. That is so. We'll talk off camera about some other stuff that I want to talk about. We are an hour and 15 minutes into the broadcast. We're not gonna hold y'all any longer. We're gonna probably have to have Brother Alvin over here part 2. Because,
I'll go back
because we got some stuff. There's a bunch of stuff that men have to deal with to break down the stereotypes of being a black man in America that some other people don't have to deal with.
Say that.
And also have to break down the stereotype to help black women or women in general understand their man. I think that's a harsh reality that no grandmama ain't prepared us for. Big Mama or Papa ain't prepared us for. And on vice versa, we're going to get some women in here to talk about the emotional state of women and women health and what that encompasses and how as men that we can share together and overcome together. So, all right, we finna get up out here. We done been with y'all long enough. If y'all like the show, please like, subscribe to the channel, to the page, and hit that notification button so you'll get notified when we come on. As you know, we post the link from YouTube onto our Facebook, but we're not broadcasting on Facebook because this is an opportunity that we have to try to leave the 9 to 5, and we want to be professional podcasters and media people. So this is what we're going to do. We also have some things in the work to up our attendance or our reach and our streaming, and we got some things in the works. So shout out to us. Look out for in the coming future, My Two Sons podcast by my brother, my friend, my cousin Clint, and they're going to be on all the streaming networks as well. We want to thank Brother Alvin again for coming and sharing with us.
Thank y'all for having me.
Because when people go through things, it is great to get them out because they have a different worldly perspective of it. It's easy for people that studied it to tell you about it, but the people that actually went through it, they have a whole different view of the situation.
Say that again.
A whole different view of the situation. And so we just want to thank you and being open and honest with our audience, because you have just broken some chains, and somebody's like, well, being that has held them in bondage. My brain start going faster than my mouth, and stuff don't come out right. So I have to slow down sometimes.
I got it.
So we want to just again thank you. Yeah, I was trying to play it back through the Bluetooth. Okay. And
thank y'all for tuning in. Good night.
Good night. Good night. Good night. Good night.
Thank y'all for having me. That was dope.